Welcome to episode 61 of Pinnacle FC. Gareth Wheeler, Jake Osgathorpe with you, looking ahead to the weekend that will be across European football's best and biggest leagues. We're coming in still hot, I'm happy to say. Back-to-back profitable podcasts for both Jake and I. Myself, a couple big hitters, the Bayern Munich play. The Wheeler special, that is, played out in El Clasico. Only 3 goals, but worked for me with both teams to score and a Real Madrid win, I should say. And Jake, slow and steady, wins the race. He smashed the easiest bet of the week, RB Leipzig beating Augsburg. I think it ended up in a 6-0. It was just one of those weeks that kind of worked out for us last week, Jake.
Yeah. Fingers crossed it continues. We were just joking before we recorded that we're starting to get a little bit warm again after a cool-off period following the international break. But we've got another international break coming up, so we need to make the most of this this heat. Obviously this weekend, Champions League next weekend, and then another weekend. So we've got 3 more weekends of hopefully being red hot. Fingers crossed. I mean, I quite like the board this week. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I have a lot of games listed. It may be also I'm battling a little bit of the flu bug right now, so this might be my sick game, which perhaps everything just comes to me, or maybe I'm just completely off track. You out there can let me know. Get involved with the comments in our social media pages as well. Please give us a like and subscribe. You can follow on Pinnacle at Pinnacle on X and on our subreddit. Pinnacle Sportsbook as well for all the latest information. As the markets change, we provide you details and up-to-date information as well. This week, as we do every week, we'll give you a number of different plays that we like over the course of the week. Then we have 5 units to play with, allocating our bets, our plays across those 5 units, and hopefully it turns out in a profitable way. This week, some compelling games, and let's start off in the Premier League as we do each and every. What's catching your eye this upcoming weekend in the Premier League, Jake?
A few bets. None from the standout matches, which are Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool, Villa, and City, Bournemouth. I've kind of swerved all 3 of them, to be honest. I'm not really a big fan of. Well, I'm struggling to put my finger on every single team there, all 6 of them. So I've just kept well away, and I'm just going with the tried and trusted. It's my best bet of the week and my favourite bet. Arsenal win to 0 plus 103 away at Burnley. It seems obvious. It should be an automatic play. There's quite a few reasons why. Obviously, Arsenal just don't concede chances. They played 13 games, all competitions. They've won 10 of those to 0, which is quite remarkable. They've got the lowest expected goals against in the entire league, the fewest goals conceded, the fewest shots faced, the fewest shots on target faced. So they are basically the best team defensively in the entire Premier League. And then you flip it and you've got Burnley, who are the worst attacking team in the league based on expected goals. They take the fewest shots in the league and they take the 4th fewest shots on target. So basically it's going to be a game of, well, Arsenal's defence just completely bossing Burnley's attack, and ultimately can Arsenal get a goal, and you would have to say yes. So Arsenal win to 0 plus 103. I was surprised we're getting plus number, to be honest. I thought it would have gone by the time that we started recording.
It's made my best bets list as well. Arsenal win to 0. It's played in the last 5 Arsenal games. Like, it's a ridiculous stretch, and I know that William Saliba is dealing with the knock. It's just they have like 5 or 6 center backs that can come in and play at a high level anyways. So that doesn't scare me off. Inevitably, one of these weeks, it won't play. I just don't think it's this week. There's no context that I could see that wouldn't be the way to go. So the exact same play. Arsenal win to 0 at plus 103. I'm just thinking as well, just in terms of a future play, like Arsenal's being pushed out on Pinnacle. By the way, we use all the markets on Pinnacle to provide the numbers, the best numbers in market. Arsenal's being pushed out to win the Premier League in terms of futures at minus 210. Like, is it really just Arsenal's title to lose at this point? Is that how you're approaching things?
Oh, 1,000,000%. And I don't think it's something that's not been touched. Yeah, it is theirs to lose. It's something that's not been touched on a lot everywhere, really, where you cover it and you're talking about Arsenal win the league, is the fact that they've got a 4-point gap or 4-point cushion to the team in second, which is currently Bournemouth.
Bournemouth.
And they've got they've got a 6 point cushion to Manchester City, who are the next best on that odds list, and then 7 points to reigning champions Liverpool, who are third in terms of pricing. But what's not been talked about a lot is how difficult a start Arsenal have had. So they've already been to Anfield, they've already been to Old Trafford, they've already been to St James's Park. Obviously, they played Manchester City at home, but that's three very difficult away games that are already out of the way. And Man City have still got to go to United. They've still got to go to Liverpool. Liverpool's still got to go to City. Still got to go to United. So, I think it's obvious massively in Arsenal's hands, and they're just the most consistent team. And ultimately, I think in this league anyway, the way things basically the floor of the entire division has increased quite considerably this season, which we've seen quite a lot of volatility and upsets. I think that the team with the most consistency, the most reliability, will win this league. I don't even think they'll have to stretch too far, to be honest, because you can just see City Liverpool dropping points at every single opportunity.
Last month, this would have been a very different conversation and a very different price point. I think that we both, from the start of the season on our preview episode, we said that we both favored Arsenal for very apparent reasons. And this team has had a number of their attackers still out of the team, and they still look like an absolute juggernaut at this point. We'll just wait to see how Mikel Arteta can mess this one up. Perhaps that's not even in his power. It was just relevant to bring up at this point based upon the fact that we're both on Arsenal, 1-0 away. What else do you like this week?
I think we've got to take Leeds on the handicap at Brighton. That number is moving. It was plus 105. It's now into plus 102. I just think this is a perfect scenario where you've got Leeds who look like, well, they're performing like a top half team. I know they're not there at the moment, but all the underlying data has them in a top half position. They've won the XG battle in 6 of 9. And the last 4 have been excellent in terms of process. I know they've not won all of those, but they've averaged 0.6 expected goals against per game. And that's come, they've obviously played 2 poor teams in that time, West Ham and Burnley, but they've also played Spurs and Bournemouth, who are currently in the top 4. And to put that kind of defensive numbers up is really impressive. They've got solidity, they're willing to sit deep, and that's just always been a recipe for success for teams travelling to the Amex. I'm the first person to jump on the Brighton bandwagon when they're playing at home against one of the better teams or one of the big teams. But I'm also one of the first people to get against them when they're playing against a team like this, because the history, the record for a long period of time has been really bad. So across the last 27 home matches they've played against non-Big Six teams, Brighton have only won 10 of those, which is quite a staggering for a team that have consistently finished between about, 6th and 8th in that period. So they've drawn 13, lost 4. So this bet, backed blindly, would have won 17 times out of 27, which is a very healthy strike rate. And then it is niche, admittedly, but if you look at home against the newly promoted teams in that period, so they played 6 newly promoted teams, they've only won 1 of those as well. And I think it's fair to say that Leeds, you put Sunderland, even Burnley, this situation at Burnley, these newly promoted teams are much better than the last group of newly promoted teams. We're talking Southampton, Leicester, Ipswich, Luton, Sheffield United, Burnley. 5 of those went to the Amex and avoided defeat. And I think that Leeds are well in position to be able to do that again. It's a pretty straightforward game plan. It's a sit and contain and counter, and Brighton ultimately will run out of ideas. So, I'm more than happy to take the leap on Leeds here at plus half a goal.
Yep, that's I have that one down as well. You mentioned it. Leeds have won the XG battle in their last 4 games, putting up impressive numbers over that process, and they have 3 expected points better based upon just the data than Brighton do at this point. That's the play. The only thing that makes me a little bit more nervous is them just playing away from Ellen Road. I think Ellen Road, it's like a knocked on bet, even to go on and win the game outright. But just traveling away, they've been okay. Haven't been fantastic, but that's the play if I was to make one, and that's the only reason them playing away is why it's not making my my official board for this one. But that's certainly my significant lean. So we're aligned there. Continue on with your outside of the big games this weekend plays.
Yeah, I mean, Forest United is sort of in the big game because Man United are just box office, aren't they? But this is going to be a dire watch
right now, above Liverpool on the table, Jake.
Yeah, level on points with Man City as well.
There we go.
Yeah,
That bloke's going to get his haircut soon. Serie
Well,
A.
he actually could, yeah. What is it, 3 or 4 now in a row?
Three.
But
Yeah.
yeah, they've obviously got the massive in terms of like top four betting. They've obviously got the huge advantage of no European football, and they are out the Carabao Cup as
Hmm.
well, nice and early. So plus 200 about United top four. If they carry on the way in which they're going,
It's such an
I
advantage. We saw Newcastle last year do it. It makes a difference, doesn't it? It absolutely
100%.
does. Yeah.
Well, even Chelsea last year, I know they were in Europe, but
Chelsea
it was a Conference League, which I feel
played
like you
two
reserve them
squads.
win that.
Played two different
Yeah,
squads majority of the year.
yeah, but I'm not expecting this to be a good game whatsoever, and the main reason that is just Sean Dyche. I mean, it is pretty simple. I mean, Forest were leaking so many goals. The first port of call for Dyche was just to come in and tighten things up defensively and make them more hard to beat, and ultimately he's done that. I mean, they conceded twice against Bournemouth, but one was from a direct corner. Like he's whipped it in from the corner, and the keeper has made a bit of a mess of it. And the other one's like a 30-yard strike into the bottom corner. Um, but yeah, in 2 games in charge, under 2.5 clicked in both. Obviously, I'm talking about the Porto game as well. They've conceded a combined 1.18 expected goals in those 2 matches, which is, well, it's less than in 2 matches. It's less than Forest managed in any of Andrew's last 7. So the defensive improvement is pretty obvious, and it's there for all to see. They've conceded no big chances in those 2 games as well, which is really important. But the flip side of Dyche football is that you do very little going forward.
Stage football.
Yeah,
That's the
two
problem.
2 games. They've only scored twice, both penalties. If you take the penalties away, it's just 0.66 non-penalty expected goals across 2 matches. That's not even per game. That's just across 2 matches. So it's been dire. 14 shots, excluding penalties. No big chances, excluding penalties. So it's been really drab. Very low event. And I think it's United have been high scoring, but like I said, this is just Dyche. Like he's gonna go in there. He's gonna try and nullify United, and if he can nick a winner, he can nick a winner. But yeah, I think we just have to back unders at every opportunity. I'm surprised we're seeing the line at 2.75. Very happy to back that for a bit of extra security there. Minus 105. And I just thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of extra digging. And I went back across Dyche's last 80 Premier League matches, and under 2.5 has landed in 60% of those. So if you're talking blanket price, we should be nowhere near this, really.
Okay. Good research. Good intel there. I was trying to find a way to get on side with Manchester United over the team total of a goal and a half. It's only at minus 103 just because they create so many chances. Like the second highest XG um, uh, in the Premier League thus far this season, and it's just been 2 games under Sean Dyche. I wonder if United can actually be catching them at a decent time right now till they go full Dyche. I think they're partway there, but they're not entirely Dyche yet.
Semi
So
Dyche.
yeah, so it's off my board, but that was only one play I was tempted to make was United over the team total. But for aforementioned reasons, by the one, the only Jake Osgathorpe, I'm staying away. It's a nice little swerve here this weekend. Okay,
Yeah, nice.
continue on.
I'm gonna. He didn't win last week, but I'm gonna stick with Newcastle win to nil at plus 206. We've got a nice big price. They're away at West Ham, who, I mean, they just seem to be getting worse by the week. I don't know how it's it's quite happening. But I think it's worth a crack at a big number. I mean, Newcastle are minus 153 to win. Their defensive process is the second best in the division. And West Ham have been completely miserable all season. They've got the lowest expected goals in the entire league, 0.8 expected goals per game. The last 2 performances have been shocking against teams that are expected to be in a relegation battle. So they created 0.26 against Brentford expected goals and 0.5 against Leeds. And the home games have just been horrific. They've lost all 4 matches, averaging just 0.6 expected goals. So I just think, combining an away win with a clean sheet boosts the price considerably. I'm more than happy to take the swing, and this will be making my board.
Brilliant. Newcastle do play in the Champions League next week. The only reason why I'm avoiding that, it's going to be a big game in the Champions League. They need a result, but yes, everything that you said, yes, yes, yes. West Ham, I cannot believe how bad they are. Like I didn't think it would be as bad as this. Let's put it this way. And I cannot think of a context where I'm making a pro West Ham play for the foreseeable until something new comes about. Okay, nowhere near my board this week. Anything else?
One more for me, and it's just a straight win. Crystal Palace to beat Brentford, minus 105. I think there's been a huge market overreaction on both sides, really. I mean,
Good, Brentford.
They have been good, but I think there's certain caveats to them being good, and the fact that they've played a lot of their games at home recently when they've been good. They've beaten Liverpool at home, beaten Man United at home. They also beat West Ham away, but I'm not putting too much
Yeah,
stock in
there's
that.
a big one right there.
Yeah, they were good. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not getting carried away. Yeah, but before that, they'd struggled away from home, and I don't. And against better teams, I don't think that this is. You know, I don't think that Palace warrant being -105. I think they should be closer to about -140 because all the underlying metrics have Palace as a top four team, and their recent run can be caveated as well. That they've gone lost, drawn, lost after such a good start. Last minute defeat to Everton in a very even game. Expected goals were 2.1 to 2.2. Last minute equaliser against Bournemouth, but they were actually over 4.5 expected goals in that game. That was the last home match. And a narrow away defeat to Arsenal, who, as we've established, are the best team in the league, don't concede many chances. And Palace didn't give up many to Arsenal, just 0.8 expected goals at the Emirates. So it was a good display in that regard. Defeats have come away from home. At home, they're very, very solid, different animal altogether. And yeah, I think this has been a bit of an overreaction to Brentford beating Liverpool, but everyone's beating Liverpool at the moment. So how much are we reading into that, really? And yeah, Crystal Palace, just a bit of bad fortune and some good performances against what has been a tough schedule. I mean, an away game at Everton, a home game against Bournemouth, and an away game at Arsenal are quite difficult fixtures. And the performances they've put up suggest to me that they're still top four capable team. Expected points has them third. Expected goals, they're top of that chart. So yeah, in terms of metrics, Palace are way better than Brentford, and I'm more than happy to take a swing on them because I do think there's been too much of a market move, and this is a correction game.
I get it, but I do worry about a couple things when it comes to Palace. Played Liverpool today. We're recording this on Wednesday in the EFL Cup, and they're now playing European football. They travel to the Netherlands on Thursday. And look, Brentford's played really well. You know, they gave Man City a game. I know that they played at home. Still, I know it's Liverpool and they're losing everyone right now, but they still beat them and created a ton of chances. The best way that I can get on side with this game here is both teams to score in over 2.5 at +117. Both of them huge. Like Crystal Palace with the best XG in all of the Premier League. Brentford are sixth behind United, Liverpool, City, Arsenal. Then it's Brentford. Like they're creating chances. Thiago's been excellent going forward. They put 5 past Grimsby Town yesterday, just Grimsby Town. But I think this team is just brimming with confidence in the way that they play attacking football. And I do think that there's goals to be had in that game. So that would be my play. Both teams to score, yes, in over 2.5 at +117. All right, let me give you my favorite plays of the week. I am not swerving Liverpool Aston Villa because the numbers here are just nuts. You can get Aston Villa plus a goal at -111, and I'm taking that to the bank. Not only, like I said, are Liverpool playing Crystal Palace on Wednesday, they're a team that's suffering from injuries and plays Real Madrid in the Champions League midweek next week as well. They haven't beat anyone. They've lost their last 4 in the Premier League. They've lost 5 of their last 6 overall. And meanwhile, Villa just beat Spurs and City in back-to-back games. Now you're giving me a goal and giving me take away the juice, like basically a goal in Villa's advantage here. I'm taking it. It's making my board as one of the best bets of the week. Frimpong's out for Liverpool. Gravenberch might be out as well. Everything doesn't look right with Liverpool, even at home. What's happening to this Anfield Fortress? Like, in terms of their home form, they're not even in the top 10 in expected points. And that's playing at Anfield. So that doesn't even come into play here. So give me a goal as a head start. I'm rolling with Aston Villa all day long. To me, it's one of the more absurd just markets for any of the games this week. It's just based on reputation and past and the player profile in Liverpool and not about current production whatsoever. And I'll also look at 2 totals, both at 2.25. Fulham and Wolves at -108. Fulham are dealing with an injury crisis that will give you hesitation to stop. But Wolves and Burnley were priced at 2.25 last week, and they ended up scoring 5 combined. That number in the Premier League, when you see 2.25, it's almost an automatic bet. Same goes for the Monday fixture, Sunderland and Everton, over 2.25 at +110. Both of them just in terms of what they've been creating, the tempo, the pace that they play at screams it over for me. I think you're getting some good value at plus 110. I'm even considering playing Bournemouth this week at plus a goal at plus 109 at Man City because they're playing in the Champions League as well, and Bournemouth have been that good. So those are my boards, or those are my plays this week. But I love the Burnley Arsenal, the Liverpool Aston Villa one. Those are the two. They're going to make my final board inevitably. Anything to add, or shall we move on to La Liga?
No, I do really like the over in the Fulham game. I think it's probably got under the radar a little bit, but Fulham are fourth from bottom, and they're 6 points above Wolves. Wolves are rock bottom, obviously. It's a massive game for Wolves, massive game for Vitor Pereira, because if they don't win this game, then you're going to, if they lose, you're going to be 8 points from safety straight away. That's presuming Burnley lose to Arsenal. 8 or 9 points from safety, and you're a quarter of the way through the season. It's it really is time. I know they gave him a 5-year contract a few weeks ago, but he's a man under pressure, and it could be another regime change there. So yeah, you're going to see all sorts of kitchen sinks thrown there, I think, from Wolves.
Yeah, and 2.25. It's an automatic bet for me. Okay, La Liga this week. Anything catching your eye?
Just the one game. I think it's the Friday game, actually. Getafe versus Girona. I'm just going to ride Getafe straight win, plus 119. It is moving a little bit. I won't be surprised if it goes off closer to even money. Just looks a big number. Getafe, they're not the most potent attacking team, but they're playing against the worst defensive team. And I think they're going to get enough chances to win this game, basically. Girona still struggling. Now they've steadied the ship a little bit with some good results, but they're conceding loads of goals still. Conceding 2.4 expected goals away from home. So even though Getafe aren't as potent as some other teams in La Liga, they should get ample opportunity to get the win. And flip that around defensively, Getafe are one of the best teams in the league, fifth best on expected goals. They rank higher than Real Madrid and Barcelona in that metric. So Girona have been getting results by scoring goals as well as conceding. High scoring, 2-1s and 3-3s. But I don't think they're going to score too many goals at Getafe, and it's more of a case of can Getafe outscore Girona, and I think that they will. And I just thought the number was too big, plus 119. Seems a bit of an overreaction to Girona's upturning form.
Yep, that's totally understand that. Espanyol are my sweethearts right now. I'm going to back them on the Asian handicap. I'm actually going to make it to 0 to get a little bit more juice at plus 130. They're at Alaves, who are a competitive team, difficult to beat, but I think that Espanyol have far more attacking talent and prowess than Alaves, and I think that can inevitably lead to good things for them. Just in terms of Espanyol, their expected goals on the season is north of 20. Only Real Madrid and Barcelona are better in that category. And away from home, I think that at a number where if you end up drawing, you get your money back. I think that's a strong enough play for me to make. They're on a good run of form. They've won back-to-back games in a row. So Espanyol essentially on a draw no bet at plus 130. I also think this is a good spot for Barcelona to get back on track against Elche at home. The spread is at 2, and I just backed them on that straight up. They need a response. They lost to Sevilla a couple weeks back, lost El Clasico last week, 2-1. I think this is a good get back on track week for Barcelona. I know it's chalk, but it's just a play that I would make. And Mallorca, I think that they're going to struggle against a good defensive team this year in Real Betis. They were known for more their attacking play last year, but they've been a difficult team to break down. And I think that this is a good get back on track game for them as they lost to Atletico Madrid last week. Just Mallorca not to score in this game. You can play it at plus 133. It's one of my favorites anyways. Mallorca been scoring goals, but it's completely against the run of play and not based on the data whatsoever. They're not creating chances. I think they've been a rather goal lucky, to be honest with you. And for them just not to score in this game at plus 133, I think it's a decent enough bet to make. Not much for me in the Serie A this week, and it's very difficult because there's games going on, a lot of games midweek in the Serie A
Tell me
on
about it.
Wednesday and Thursday as well. So I just have one game I'm looking at. I'm not sure if you want to go first, if you have anything else.
Well, it caught me out, that did, because I started picking up a bet for Roma versus Parma, and then I looked again and was like, oh, that's Wednesday. Brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Milan Roma taking the under in that is a sensible bet, minus 105. line set at 2.25, and the two best defensive teams in the league. Quite all of these kind of big title games or potential title deciding games that we've seen between Napoli, Milan, Inter, Roma. I know Napoli Inter went over last week, but generally they've all been quite low scoring, and Roma are just a very low scoring team. Under's landed in 7 of their 8 league games so far. Just solid defensively, but not doing too much in attack. I think this is going to be quite a cagey game, so I'll be taking the under in this one.
Milan spoiled our day, both you and I, last match day. They're the team for me. Whether it's on this podcast or just me and my own betting, I can never get AC Milan right. I think that they're out to just spite me. So I'm just gonna. I looked at that exact same thing, that exact same bet as well, and I'm just electing to swerve. One play for me, and I've done well with some big hitters on this season, and I'm gonna go with a big hitter here. It's Udinese and Atalanta. There's a number of plays I like Atalanta to win this game at minus 109. I like the under 2.5 at plus 101. I like Udinese potentially under the team total at plus 183. I like Atalanta potentially to win to nil at plus 258. But I'm going to go for a bigger hitter here. I'm going to go Atalanta to win and under 2.5 goals in this game at plus 394. That's going to be my play, a full unit play on my board. Let me explain. Atalanta have 5 straight draws on the hop here. And all of them have either finished 1-1 or goalless. They've only gone over 2.5 twice over the course of their Serie A campaign. This is the exact opposite of Atalanta under Gasparini last year. They've gone completely the other direction. All the games are close. They're playing some decent enough football, but the big thing is they're just not giving up chances or conceding. Udinese, some of their numbers are inflated because they've had a really soft schedule. Over the last 6 games, they played the 3 promoted sides, as well as Lecce and Cagliari, 2 teams both in the bottom 5 of Serie A. So I think Atalanta are the bet to win this game. And if they win, based upon the way that they played, it's going to go under the total. So a 1-0, a 2-0 for me, and at plus 394, it's worth the punt. Go ahead and make a pro Atalanta play minus 109 to win outright. Sure, that's fine. Win to do whatever you got to do, but I just think the number is dictating the play here at plus 394, Jake. That is a big old number, and if you're just following the data and where things stand, that's the most likely result in this game. So let's go with that at plus 394. So
Nice.
Bundesliga time, where we always have lots of fun trying to figure out the best way to bet Bayern Munich in some sort of
Yeah.
winning combination. Do you want to
Yeah.
start there, or what are you
Oh
looking
yeah,
at this week?
let's start there. Yeah, this one is a pretty straightforward one for me. Bayern to win and both teams to score plus 123. It seems obvious, but it's quite a solid price, really. You're getting a jump from minus 465 for a Bayern win up to plus 123 for a Leverkusen goal. And when you factor in that since they changed their manager, Leverkusen have generated 2.63 expected goals per game, which is second only to Bayern, and scored in every match. It becomes pretty obvious that they could well bloody the nose of Bayern and get at least a consolation. I think, yeah, the 2 teams that Bayern have welcomed to the Allianz that are probably in and around Leverkusen's level of quality. I mean, they're probably slightly higher, but not by much. Dortmund and Chelsea, and both of those managed to score and create a couple of good chances. So I do think Leverkusen will be able to get a goal, and Bayern are going to win this game, win and both teams to score. The goal line is high, 3.75. Wouldn't be surprised to see that covered. I did have a little cheeky look at both teams to score now and over 2.5. It's like a ridiculous number, like plus 3 something. But I'd be shocked if Leverkusen didn't grab a goal.
Yeah, I mean no Wheeler special for me this week. The exact same play. I was tempted to think Bayern Munich win to nil at plus 158 because there's 17 goals forward and just 1 conceded at home. But you're right, like Leverkusen scored 4 at Mainz in their last away game. Like they've been scoring plenty of goals and creating chances away from home. Even when they lose, like in the Champions League at home, they lost 7-2 to PSG. So I just feel like they're a team that can score goals. Yeah, I have the exact same play. I settled on both teams to score yes and Bayern Munich to win at plus 123. This one's making my board as well. You had fun picking on Augsburg last week. They lost 6-0 at home to Leipzig. How about losing at home to Borussia Dortmund, a team that's arguably the better side? Again, the line set at 3/4 of a goal. Let's just move it up on the Asian handicap to -1 to bring it to a plus number at +111. Augsburg is that bad. Dortmund is a very good team. I understand they play in the Champions League, but the game's also being played on Friday, which give them plenty of time, ample time to recover. This is making my board as well. Dortmund to win by a full goal at +111.
Yeah, I've got the exact same play down. I've even moved the line as well. Yeah, I mean,
There you
like you
go.
say, just picking on Augsburg, they're the worst team in the league this season, according to expected points. They've got a miserable process. They concede nearly 2.5 expected goals per game at home, so that's in front of their supporters, which must be great for them. And Dortmund have been dominant in 3 of the 4 away games this season. They covered this line in 2 of them. They were unfortunate not to cover the line in the first. They were 3-1 up and let a lead slip to St. Pauli, and then obviously lost to Bayern Munich in the other away game, but it was still a decent performance. Still generated over 2 expected goals per away game, have Dortmund. And it wouldn't be surprised to see them win handsomely like Leipzig did. I mean, maybe they don't have to do 6-0, but 3 would be nice.
Yep. Anything else in the Bundesliga for you?
No, that's me done.
One other game just to flag to you, keep an eye on the total of Cologne versus Hamburg this weekend. The total is set at 3. I like the under, but it's at -115. I want to see if there's a little bit more juice. Based on Hamburg away from home has really struggled. They're the bottom team in expected goals. It's under 3 goals in their 4 away matches thus far. And Cologne at home, that just the output, both goals scored and conceded, and expected goals against, it's minuscule. The only teams that are better at home in terms of expected goals against are Bayern Munich, Leipzig, and Dortmund. So I think the total is too high at -150. I don't, with these 2 teams, Jake, I just don't want to mess around with the total and playing an alternative total. I just like to see if at 3, if the number maybe shifts a little bit. Public like to bet overs. And if it comes back in a positive way, then I will be making an underplay at under 3 in this game. All right, so that's it. Unless Jake has any other games in any other leagues. You want to back Celtic with Martin O'Neill in charge? Hearts to keep it alive in the Scottish Prem?
I wouldn't back Celtic even if Pep Guardiola was in charge at the minute. They
Wow.
look
What about
terrible.
Rangers?
They've got the Rangers have got my what Sheffield Wednesday's old boss, Danny Roll.
Yeah.
Obviously support Sheffield Wednesday. Bad week for us, but yeah, Danny Roll's back in. I think he'll turn them around, but it might take a while. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm leaving the Scottish Prem. No
Okay.
way going near that. But
Okay.
yeah,
I was
Hearts
just asking.
definitely look like could be the first time in I don't know how many years that a team other than Celtic or Rangers wins the league.
It's needed. It's needed.
Tony Bloom,
And you know what? Tony
Brighton
Bloom
owner,
does it
he
again.
knows what he's doing. Yeah,
No kidding. And
done
Tony
it with
we
Union
trust.
Saint-Gilloise as well. Yeah.
Yeah. He's the man of gold, Tony Bloom. Okay, let's go. It's about time to present your 5 units of play this week. Where are you going with this?
So I'm going to do 1.5 units on Arsenal win to 0 against
Wow.
Burnley,
Nice
plus 103. I'm going to do half a unit Newcastle win to 0 against West Ham, plus 206. And then full units on Dortmund -1 handicap, Bayern win and both teams to score, and under 2.75 goals in Forest United.
I like your board this week. Maybe not the last one, but we'll see how it plays out. Just standard 1 unit play for each. Arsenal win to 0 at plus 103. Aston Villa on the handicap at Anfield, a full goal at -111. Give me Espanyol on the draw no bet. The Asian handicap 0 at plus 130 at Alaves. Give me Atalanta to win at Udinese plus under 2.5 at plus 394. Here we go. And give me Borussia Dortmund on the Asian handicap -1 away to Augsburg at plus 111. Please give us a like, subscribe to this podcast, however you consume. And we'll be back on Monday with our Champions League look ahead before back with our standard midweek show next week. Good stuff, Jake. Thank you for hanging with me and my persistent illness. At least we do this at in different locations, so there's no threat of you falling ill or any of you that are watching out there. So we appreciate your support, and we'll do this all again next week. On behalf of Jake and everyone at Pinnacle, I am Gareth Wheeler. This has been episode 61 of Pinnacle FC.